This is the Better Dad Project podcast, a place for imperfect dads who want to do better and help each other along the way. Okay, let's do a little bit of a follow-up to my previous video. It was a short about your ability to admit when you're wrong and creating this habit of admitting when we have fallen short of our own expectations, and not only of our own expectations, but really of any expectations of what we should be as dads. Let's say you mess up, and you mess up with your kids. Maybe you yelled in a certain way that you always said you weren't going to do. You punished them in a certain way that you said you were never going to do, or simply you said something that was very hurtful, and there it is. Right, you cross that line that you said you were never going to cross. And obviously the most normal thing is for us to just go on about life, and the kids, we leave it on them to figure out why that just happened. When we don't do what's right, in this case apologizing to our kids, because we think that, well, if I admit that I made a mistake, then they know that I'm not perfect, and if they know that I'm not perfect, then the next time they're not going to trust me, because they're going to think, well, he was wrong last time, he could be wrong again this time. But that's not at all, like I said before, that's not at all how it works. It's actually the opposite way. Yes, they realize that we're imperfect. What, you don't think they knew that already? They know that we're imperfect and that we're going to make mistakes. The difference is in your vulnerability to say, I made a mistake. Because that also means that you are willing to learn from said mistake. And so instead of actually losing trust with them, you increase the trust that they have in you because of the type of person that they now see in you. But when we don't, now we leave it up to them. Imagine your child is 4, 5, 6 years old, and you just yelled or said something hurtful that you shouldn't have said. Maybe you got mad, disproportionately to whatever they did, and you just walk away. You never talk about it again. In this case, we are putting it on our 4, 5, 6-year-old to figure out why dad just did this thing that feels so wrong. Is that something that we want to put on our children? And not even when they're that young, they could be 10, 11, 12. And still, we did something that they intuitively know it's wrong, that it shouldn't have happened. And if we don't address that situation, we are putting it on them to try to figure it out and to rationalize and to come up with an answer as to why we just acted in a certain way. So it's okay to admit that we're wrong. And it is imperative that we apologize when we know that we have done wrong. A very simple way of doing it is you approach them. First, you say you love them, right? We always express that we love them. And then we tell them what we did and that we realize that was not okay. Remind them that we're not perfect, that we're trying to figure this thing out. We're trying to be the best parent that we can with what we have, but we're going to make mistakes. However, promise them that you're going to try hard so that never happens again. And promise them that you're going to learn from this one so that it doesn't happen again. And you watch how your children begin to admire you. And from that moment on, they see you under a different light. They don't see you as this dictator, boss of the house whose word, is the law, whether it's right or wrong. But they see you as a leader, and they see you as somebody in whom they can trust. If you're willing to admit your mistakes, you're teaching them that they can do the same. And if you're willing to learn from yours, you're teaching them that they can also do the same thing. And what they see us do is exactly how they begin to form themselves. What they said, the way they see us act, the type of person that they see us be, is how they start to mold their own personalities, their own character. So it's a great follow-up, something to really consider and think about. And I'm curious if you have had this experience and how have you handled it, or how do you wish you would have handled it. Again, let's share and let's put our experience out there and help somebody who's maybe a few years behind us to have a better experience, not only for them but also for their children. Let's help others along the way have a better result, have a better parenting experience with what we know. So we can't go back in time. We can't fix the mistakes that we've made, but we can definitely pass it along and hopefully spread it enough that as future generations begin to come up, they do it the right way.